people don't know how much risk they really have inside of their plans.
There you go.
Whether that's tax risk, medical cost risk, stock market risk, and they're just going through life, and all of a sudden that thing, that stock market, that COVID, that long-term care situation comes up, and they didn't plan for it. They didn't know the risk that was involved, and it's a derailment when it could have been dealt with way back.
We've been doing this for 20 years and serving hundreds of families. We're going to bring solutions to your situation.
How do you choose a financial advisor? How do you know who you should
That's
work with?
the value of that 210 core, moving everything towards a purpose on purpose.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to your Retirement Blueprint podcast. My name's Kendall Stahl, alongside my co-host, father-in-law, best friend.
Wow. Best friend.
I was trying to come up with something else.
I never thought that.
I felt like I needed a third thing, you know?
We just went to a new level.
Yeah, we did. We can hug now.
In the witness of all of you folks, we just went to a new level. He said best friend. We've got it on tape here.
Anyways, today's show, we got nothing planned.
Okay, I like that.
We did, but it was kept talking about the pandemic, and I'm frankly just over it. I like it.
So much
Rip
for that
it
plan,
up.
right? There goes that plan.
Here we go. No more pandemic talk.
Pandemic's over.
It's over.
In my mind.
Yeah. Anyways, we always start our show.
How about this?
Okay.
Pandemic may not be over, but I'm over the pandemic.
That'll work.
Yeah.
I can get on board with that.
Yeah.
All right, question of the day. You ready?
Fire.
This one's from Frank.
Hi,
Frank didn't
Frank.
tell me where he was from,
Okay.
so he's from somewhere. Okay? And he's
Okay.
going to retire in a year.
Okay.
He wants to know, should I be investing my 401k aggressive or conservatively?
Well, Frank, thanks for the question. We do appreciate you writing in on that. So I guess there's a bigger answer to a very nice, short, concise question. The bigger answer is, Frank, what have you done to establish your income?
Sure.
Because once the paycheck stops, Frank's got to buy groceries, he's got to keep the lights on, he's got to buy the clothes, put gas in the car, those kind of things.
Yep.
So, Frank, what have you done to establish your income? If your answer is, well, I'm going to live 100% out of that bucket called the 401k, then by all means, don't go super aggressive with all of it. We can start to segment pieces of it, but we want some of that set aside for your income needs. If you say, no, this is money, Phil, that I'm never going to spend, or I'm going to leave it to somebody else, or I've got
Pensions and Social
right,
Security.
pension's going to cover me, Social Security, I've got some rental properties, I got some farm stuff, I got plenty of income, then maybe we should have a different conversation. But it all depends on what is Frank's purpose for that money. There's nothing wrong with being aggressive as long as that aggressiveness has a plan attached to it. So, Frank, establish your income first, then we can figure out how much to be aggressive with the rest of that.
I love it. So since we ripped our script up,
Okay? I like that too.
you ready for the name of this show?
Fire away.
Okay. Kendall and Phil's pet peeves.
Oh, man. How much time you folks have? We got a few.
Here
of
we
them.
go.
We got a few of them, yeah.
All right. You want me to start?
Yeah.
Okay. Here's one of my biggest pet peeves.
Okay.
When people
Say
yes.
That's an inside joke.
Yeah. We were just talking about it. I watched myself on a video and all I did was say and now I can't stop saying and you don't really know you're saying so it's really hard to fix.
Okay.
Anyways,
Biggest pet peeve. Go.
I meet with a lot of retirees every day. Maybe this is, I don't know if this is a selfish, I don't know what this is. A lot of retirees every day, baby boomers, pensions, Social Security, more money than they're ever going to use in their life, and they don't give a rip what happens when they're gone.
Yeah. Happens every day, doesn't it? I wish I was that dad.
Every time I say that, man, I'm like, man, I hope that's not my dad.
Is that your biggest pet peeve? Here's one of mine. You go to a restaurant and a nice, sweet waiter, waitress, one of them, comes up to your table and says, "What are we having?" What do you mean we? You're not joining me for dinner right now. What do you mean, what are we having? They ought to say, what are you having?
Okay.
That's one of my biggest ones.
Well, I'm glad to know that now. I was going to say, I should clarify this show is Kendall and Phil's biggest financial.
We're just airing our grievances. That's all we're doing here.
This isn't just, we're going to air it all. I was going to try to tie this to financial planning,
okay.
retiring, things
all
like
right.
that.
Sorry.
If we could just, change a few things, what would we do? Okay, so the first one is, if people, and maybe this is my problem, maybe I need to do a better job of teaching people what all could be done to get money to the next generation, right? If you got all the money you need, you don't know what to do with it, and you're just not worried about what happens to the next generation. There's so much that you can turn into like generational wealth or
right.
you know,
Impact. Massive impact. Yeah. I agree. That is a lot of folks. And I think the reason, Kendall, I don't think it's anything that you can blame them for. I believe it's the way as a society, especially Central Illinois, conservative values, they have a hard time breaking out of that big time thinking, that abundance thinking.
And I think for sure that, and I think some of them just think that it's secure. They don't want to. There was did you hear that?
I heard that. Yeah, I'm checking them. One.
Yeah,
two.
they don't want to think about. It's hard for them to believe. I can't talk today. Do you know what I'm trying to say? I'm trying to say
yes.
that they're worried they're going to run out of money.
Yeah.
And it's hard for them to believe that they've accumulated so much wealth that they
right.
can really do a whole,
Well, you know
spend
why?
a bunch and screw a lot
Here's
of things
why.
up. And
They were
not run out.
raised in a way that their mom and dad probably said these things to them: shut the door, we're not heating the outside, right?
Yeah. Which, by the way, I've started saying.
Oh boy, he's a dad.
I'm like, oh my word.
finish these
I feel just like my dad now.
Finish these sentences for me. Money doesn't grow on
trees.
Exactly. So you were taught these things, right?
Yeah.
Turn out that light and shut that door and those kind of things. So you go to work, you get married, you go to work, you raise kids, you try to pay a mortgage, and you try to cut every corner you can cut. And then all of a sudden over the years, this wealth has accumulated in their 401ks or IRAs, but their mindset still says,
Save the
shut
money.
that door. We're not heating the outside.
Save
Turn
the
off that
cottage
light.
cheese
My
container.
mom passed away last year. If she had one cottage cheese container,
know.
she had 150 of them because she cut every corner she could.
I always go to my grandma's house. So there's no topic today. So this is good. We're going to get off topic. I go to my grandma's house, and every time I leave, I feel guilty. I'm like, my goodness, we should try to live a little more like they do. You know, my generation, we're just spend it, throw it away, you know, whatever.
Also, too, that is generational because your grandparents and my grandparents came from that Great Depression era stuff. Well, they knew what having nothing meant. You and I have never been through that. Well, I thought we had. I've been through some lean times, but I've never been to a point where we're searching for our next meal.
Yeah.
Or we're going to a neighbor to try to share something to try to exist. So there is a lot of experience that came with that. But all seriousness, with your pet peeve of people saying, I've got this bucket of money. I'll probably never spend it. I don't care where it goes after I'm dead. I think that is a problem. I think that you could take that and you could put a lever under that and really make a large impact either to your kids, your grandkids,
Or
a
even
ministry that you love or something. There's something that could be done there.
The leverage, taxes, you know, planning for catastrophic illnesses, you know, those types of things that really can go to the next generation. Anyways, so that's one of mine. What about you? Other than the whole whatever.
The waiter, waitress.
The waiter,
thing.
waitress
That
thing.
does bug me. If you're a waiter or waitress, don't ask me what we're having. You can say, what are you having? That's all. I'm done with that one.
Oh, man.
Euphemism.
I'm waiting on you.
Euphemisms are another one, but that's not financial planning. Back to financial
Do you
planning.
not have any? Are you saying that it's just you just keep doing things the way they go? Nothing. There's nothing that bugs you, rubs you the wrong way.
There's a lot of things that rub me the wrong way.
Okay.
What do you want to talk about?
I'm waiting. I'm waiting for your thing.
Well, when it comes to what we do every day for a living, I think that one of the things that does rub me wrong
Other than food.
is that people don't know how much risk they really have inside of their plans.
There you go.
Whether that's tax risk, medical cost risk, stock market risk, and they're just going through life, and all of a sudden that thing, that stock market, that COVID, that long-term care situation comes up, and they didn't plan for it. They didn't know the risk that was involved, and it's a derailment when it could have been dealt with way back here. That's a problem to me, and I really think people need to wake up a little bit, sit up a little bit, be a little more serious about their plan.
Right. Figure out how much risk you've got. We do that on a scale of 1 to 99. So think speed limit sign, right? 1 is we're not going anywhere. 99 is we're going somewhere real fast, right? Let's figure out where you're at risk-wise inside of your portfolio. This would just have to do with investment risk, not taxes and stuff like that you mentioned. But where are you at?
Stock market risk.
Stock
you're talking
market
about,
risk, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, where are you at investment wise? So scale 1 to 99. 1's cash in the bank. 99's as risky as you can get. A reference point is the S&P or the stock market is at a risk score of 75. So if your risk score is 75 and you don't know it, we weren't going to talk about the pandemic, but if COVID hit the market goes backwards 30 or 40% or whatever it was, you're going backwards that much too. And if more than likely, this is a generalization, so maybe not 100% true, but more than likely, someone that didn't know how much risk they had and they slide backwards that much, they're going to do something.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is probably one of the worst things you can do.
They're going to do something emotional, which could be wrong. Yeah, they're going to run from fear. I'll tell you a true story. This is long ago, but this is something that I think would help you, those listeners, to really understand what this means. There was a gentleman who is not a client of ours. So I can be this is a general story, but it actually did happen. This gentleman sat in my office, and I'm going to make up a number. Let's say that he had $500,000 in his 401k. And he said to me, "What do you think I should do? Because I want to retire next year." And I said, "Well, do you realize how much risk you have inside of your portfolio?" And he said, "Risk doesn't matter to me. I'm going to retire next year." Well, that was in 2008. And for anyone remembering 2008, that's when the stock market at some points went down 50%. He sat in my office a year later. He did not take our advice to reduce his risk, and a year later he had about $250,000 in his account, and it ruined his retirement. Now it wasn't a year until retirement. Now it could have been 3, 4, and 5 years because he didn't want to take the time to address how much risk he had and what the goal was for that money and establishing a plan. Had he done that, probably been a whole different story because he still could have retired even in a down market because we would have made a plan for that.
Easy for us to say, though, right? Like, this is what we do every day. But I get it. You get stuck in the mundane of life, and you just go through life, and all of a sudden it's a year, it's 2 years, it's 3, your kids are grown, now you're retiring, and you're like, well, I haven't even thought about this. It's no different for me than I just told you. I bought a Honda Civic, 23,000 miles, and I've changed oil once.
Now it's on record. Now it's on record. You shouldn't have said that.
So I don't know if that's the same thing, but, you get going, and
life happens.
Okay. Checklist challenge. So here we go.
All right.
I was just thinking about this while you were just talking about that. We have a checklist challenge. I'll get the link for it before the show's over here. But basically, it's a checklist, and you can say, hey, have I planned for my income? Do I know what my Social Security and my pension's going to be? Do I know how much risk I'm going to have inside of my portfolio? Have we talked about taxes? What's your risk score, right? Because back to, my scale from 1 to 99, we're going to figure out how much risk you have inside of your portfolio. But then we also are going to figure out kind of mentally or emotionally where are you at as an individual or as a couple or however you want to say that on that scale as well to make sure that matches up.
I agree. Otherwise, we have a lot of sleepless nights.
Yeah.
Not so much us, but our clients could have sleepless nights
Sure.
If they say they want their risk to be this, but emotionally they can only handle this, and the market starts to do its crazy thing, which it will do from time to time. And then with your emotional quotient doesn't match your risk quotient, what you'll do is make terrible emotional decisions, and you'll run from fear, and you'll get out at the bottom of a market. You think it's going to keep going down, and you'll wait till it gets way back up. You did exactly the opposite. You bought low and you bought in high and got out low. It's the exact opposite of what you're supposed to do.
Yeah. So anyways, checklist challenge. You can download that. We'll put the link in our show notes, and you can kind of walk through that. And anything that you need help with, we're obviously going to be willing to help you with. So there you go. Checklist challenge.
On all seriousness, kind of a fun show, a non-agenda show, just a pet peeve show. But my biggest pet peeve, Kendall, and I want it to be your biggest pet peeve too. I know it's Kendall's, and that's when people let life get in the way of making a good plan.
Yeah.
And then life happens in a way they didn't expect. And it could have been such a better outcome than it was had they took the time in the good times to make a plan for when the bad times happen. Because guess what? Life is going to come at us. Good times are going to be here. Bad times are going to be here. We're going through some difficult times as a nation right now. And had people made plans, those who made plans, they're thankful they did it.
Okay. There we go. Yep. You got anything that happened this week in history?
Boy, let's see. Let's see. Is this?
You tore it up, so I don't know what happened.
Yeah,
this week in
I'm going to make up something.
All right.
Nobody fact check me. See if it's real or not.
Kendall
okay?
and Phil's first show that we just randomly did.
This week in history. This week in history in 1962.
I don't know. I can't wait to see where this is going. Are you really making this up, or are you coming up with
I'm
something?
totally making this up.
Okay. No. Well, we don't have to have it this week in history.
No. Let's do it. I've got something.
Okay.
1962, there was a very famous quote. And that famous quote said, One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Is that true?
It's a true statement.
Okay. I'm going to fact check you.
Neil Armstrong stepped onto the moon.
All right. I'm going to fact check that for sure.
I may be off a year or two, but it was in this time frame.
Yeah.
1960 something.
All righty, folks. Well, thanks for suffering through that with us.
Boy. Whew.
I think we should do it more often.
I like it.
Yeah. All right. Well, coming up
Thanks
next
for
week, maybe we'll rip up the script again.
Thank you.
See
Bye-bye.
you guys.